Gang, it's May 31st. It's the last day of May. It's Friday. We're gonna front squat today. We also have more what I want to call classic CrossFit. We got a couplet for you to do today, and maybe in a rep scheme that you need to think about a little bit. So we'll get to it. Let's talk first about front squats. I always want to address the lifting when we haven't been doing a ton of it recently, and I always wonder whether or not people get curious why their front squat feels different than their back squat. Of course, you're still using the same legs, and for the most part, this is it's a squat, so it's leg dominant. But, of course, most people, I'm going to say 95% of lifters, most specifically in the CrossFit realm, are going to find that their back squat capacity is much higher than their front squat capacity. And if you're one of those people, which you most likely are, I want you to know that that's normal. Completely normal. I know I'm one of those people. I think the difference between my back squat max and my front squat is probably about 40 pounds, if not more. And why is that? Well, with a back squat, we can get away with more poor mobility, whereas in a front squat, I don't know if the reasons are obvious or not, but one thing that is very obvious about a front squat is that the increase is on mobility, right? The increased demand, I should say, is on mobility. And the increased demand is really, when I say mobility, what I kind of mean is on your ability to maintain posture, like a proud chest and high elbows. And that's what we commonly refer to as a front rack. So if your front rack is poor, what's going to happen? Well, in a back squat, you can get away with a chest dipping forward a little bit. We don't want it, but you can get away with it. In some cases, some people feel like that helps them because it keeps the bar maybe in what they feel like is an advantageous position. Whereas in a front squat, if that chest comes forward a little bit, that bar it doesn't want to. Gravity starts to pull that bar forward. It starts to slip out of our hands. We lose it. There's no ability to squat after that. You can't save it in the same way you could a back squat. The bar essentially has to stay within a smaller path to be able to even hold on to it. So best way to say it is we can't get away with poor mobility with the front squat. And that's the reason it's harder. So just, on top of the fact that we are front squatting, it's just another reminder that while every class is not going to have us working specifically on a increased front rack, it is something we need to be working on, even if it's just stretches, mobility at home, something to think about. If you don't know how, absolutely ask a coach. It's something that we can spend our lives getting better at and actually seeing improvement. So if you work at it, it gets better. Front squats are harder. We like that demand. Okay, today's workout. We have it's a 4-time workout where you're going to have, it's a couplet. One movement is ascending in volume. Another movement is descending in volume. They're sort of crisscrossing in that way. Like it's 3 rounds. So the second round, they both have the same volume. What are those 2 movements? Well, it's deadlifts again. So last week we did a sort of a increasing weight deadlift. This week we have the same idea, except there's no rest this week. So you're going to have to change your plates on the fly. But helping with that is the fact that the jumps won't be quite as big, not as quite of a heavy barbell this week as we had last week. The volume of deadlifts has gone up. So today we're going to do a total of 60 deadlifts. And the expectation is that you're adding weight each time. Let's call it moderately heavy on the barbell. And what the volumes are it looks like this. It's 30, 20, 10 on the deadlifts, increasing in weight but decreasing in volume, and then 10, 20, 30 on lateral burpee box jump overs. All right. So you guys who did semifinals will remember that movement quite well. Everybody else, it's a burpee box jump. The lateral part, you don't need to worry about too much. Just know that the reason for the lateral is because that's actually technically easier, and we don't have to stand all the way up at the top. And it's almost like lateral burpees over bar in that theoretically it's easier, but we're not gonna dock anybody or tell them they're modified if they actually face the box, because in this case we believe that's more difficult. All right, so a couple things. We are not going to have a no heavier than section today, other than to say that I did not do this workout yet, and yet I plan to do it for me at 185, then 225, then 275. Those will be my weights today. So nothing crazy. Another thing is that we're not going to enforce a specific time cap today, but with the volume involved and the weightlifting movements involved, we feel like you can get this done in 12 minutes. I haven't done it yet. I will do this one on the day that you do it. But I feel like we're not enforcing the cap today, but this should not take much more than, let's conservatively call it 12 to 15 minutes. That's how much time we think it should take. No more than that. So again, 185, 225, 275 is what I plan to do. Haven't done yet. And we think this should go pretty well, like almost like a sprint, a little bit of a sprint kind of thing. I'm expecting to have to break up the deadlifts a bit, but not too much. Let's try not to start on a deadlift where it's going to take us more than 3 sets. 10, 10, 10 sounds great for the 30s. In fact, maybe that's how we schedule the weights today. It should be something that you can always pick up for 10. Maybe you don't end up actually doing sets of 10, but you could if you were actually pushed. That'd be helpful. All right, let's try that out and see how it goes. Deadlifts, lateral burpee, box jump overs, and the strength today is front squats. Enjoy.